Today's video, we're going to talk about a new commander that was just announced the other day, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog. And I'm going to be presenting you with my first draft of a Shadow the Hedgehog deck profile. I've spent a good bit of time working on this. It seems like a really fun and exciting commander to build around, but it also has a very, very powerful effect. So obviously, a card that has some people talking, especially, you know, those who hate Universes Beyond, those who like it, etc. But before we actually jump into the video itself, let's just take a quick look at Shadow. And obviously, at the end of the video, I'll let you guys know the link for the actual profile is going to be posted down below. But if you want to take a chance to kind of watch through, it does help me, obviously. So Shadow the Hedgehog, it is a legendary creature that costs 2 black and 2 red with haste. Whenever Shadow or another creature you control with flash or haste dies, draw a card. Each spell you cast has split second if mana from an artifact was spent to cast it. Means while it's on the stack, it cannot be responded to, basically, except by mana abilities. So it's very, very significant for that reason. It has a lot going for it, making a lot of your spells uncounterable. But let's get into the actual profile. Alright, so as we jump into the actual deck profile itself, I know it's a little weird to see. I'll adjust the screen kind of as we go. It's just a bit wonky. There's no way to line it up so it's actually like completely coherent, but don't worry, the link will be in the description below. I just want to talk about some of the card choices and whatnot. So we've got Arcane Signet. Arcane Signet, just really good. We want to have mana rocks that can give us mana to cast stuff so that they can't be responded to with that split second. So we've got Fellwar Stone as well, we've got Mind Stone, and then we've got some cards like Phyrexian Altar and Soul Ring, as well as Talisman of Indulgence, all really good mana rock options. Basically a ton of ways to ensure that we're casting cards with artifact-generated mana. And we also have Mycosynth Lattice. I think this card is really good in here. It makes all permanents artifacts in addition to their other types. Also makes it so that all cards that aren't on the battlefield and any other spells or permanents are colorless. And you can spend mana as though it was mana of any color. So this will kind of work fairly well with our actual, you know, artifact breakdown here. Being able to sack other stuff for different costs and whatnot is going to be solid. And there's a lot of other stuff that we'll talk about here a little bit later in the video. We've got Tarion Soul Cleaver. This is a solid equipment. It gives the creature vigilance and then gets a +1/+1 counter whenever another artifact or creature is put into a grave. So any artifacts you sacrifice. Reaver Cleaver, also quite strong. And Urbrask's Forge is actually really strong here because of the fact that every turn it creates a token with haste that will die. So that alone will trigger Shadow's draw. But you can certainly utilize cards like Phyrexian Altar to sack the Urbrask's Forge token and then get a draw that way as well. So it's just really good in terms of how it helps you to manage your resources. Now, moving into the creatures, what I want to see here, I'm going to see if I can maybe make this a little easier to see for the creatures because it gets crazy. So we're looking at Ancient Copper Dragon, which I think is just really good for treasures. I'm not going to go through every single creature here because I don't want to, you know, take too long. I know a lot of people are going to be more concerned with the list, but we have a few different goals here. Things that trigger off of treasures being sacrificed, things that allow you to sacrifice treasures, and then things that kind of work in the middle. So cards like Anger is actually really, really strong to give haste to everything so that you can, anytime one of your creatures dies, you're able to benefit off of your commander. So that's a huge, you know, reason for a card like that being in there. Cards like Captain Lannery Storm and Enduring Courage, also haste reliant. Lannery Storm just gives you a token and haste, but of course Enduring Courage gives everything haste. Forsworn Paladin is really good for treasure generation, and generally speaking, so is Goldspan Dragon. And we've got Gravecrawler and Grim Hireling here too. One of the reasons I've Gravecrawler in here is it obviously can go infinite with cards like Phyrexian Altar and Blood Artist and any other kind of sack outlet like that, as long as you have the mana to do it. And while it's not the main win condition of the deck, I do think it's probably worthwhile to you know, kind of have that there as a focus because you want to have a few alternate ways to win. Obviously, Grim Hireling, really good with treasures. You've got Mirkwood Bats that will proc whenever you create or sack a treasure, so you're getting value out of it as well as, you know, still casting your spells. Same with Mayhem Devil, so those are why those guys are included. Jury also is pretty good because you're sacking a lot of permanents to be able to ensure you cast your stuff. We've got cards in the deck that are also kind of important along the lines, along those same lines rather. This is not my favorite platform. Okay. Along those same lines, we get Hellkite Tyrant, obviously another alternate win condition if you have a bunch of artifacts. Nadier's Nightblade, whenever you create a token and whenever a token leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Necron Overlord, Ornithopter of Paradise, and Pitiless Plunderer. Professional Facebreaker, just all really good. Prosper, very toxic card, but also works really well because you create treasures every time you cast them from exile, and then your exile cards can't be countered. We've got stuff in here with Blitz, we've got Ragavan, just a pretty solid lineup of creatures there, and a few other decent ones down here. Undead Sprinter sort of works well for that revival too. Warren Soul Trader and Zorn are both really good for generating your treasures, so it's got a lot of, optimal interaction there. Moving on to the enchantments, we've got Anointed Procession, Black Market Connections, Phyrexian Arena, Reign of Riches, and Revel in Riches. I think I've gotten everything that's like kind of an auto-include here. Obviously, there's plenty of room for movement, but being able to generate treasures and stop stuff from being, canceled by whatever different things your opponent might play is certainly not something to kind of overlook, so I think it's solid. Instance, we've got stuff that generates treasures, we've got Dark Ritual, Desperate Ritual, stuff like that. Entomb, obviously, for our combo setups. Tibalt's Trickery is actually a really good counterspell, and your commander's certainly going to be a problematic card, so if there are ways they get around it, you'll want to be able to have that protection. Got Unexpected Windfall too, just ways to make treasures, draw cards, and have answers. That's what we're kind of looking for. And then the land base, I'm not going to go over the entire thing, like I said, in this video, but basically any good Rakdos lands. The one interaction I do want to note is like Great Furnace, Darksteel Citadel, etc. They do count for your commander's split-second ability, which is really cool. So they are artifact lands, and they do give you the same benefits and protections. And of course, Mycosynth Lattice makes all your lands artifacts, so later in games you have that interaction with it as well. Now, this is just kind of a quick first draft I wanted to go through for Shadow the Hedgehog. Let me know what you guys think of the deck profile, and if anyone has been able to cook anything up so far, feel free to sound off in the comments down below. And if you do enjoy the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.